The 7 levels of Jeet Kune Do. Every level of Jeet Kune Do explained. Level 1, Formless Chaos. This is ground zero. You've watched a Bruce Lee documentary, got inspired, and walked into training expecting to learn the 1-inch punch and move like a ghost. Instead, your first month is just realizing JKD has no fixed curriculum, which actually makes you more lost than if you'd picked up any traditional martial art off the street. Your laid straight is telegraphed from a mile away. Your footwork is basically just walking forward and backward and hoping for the best. Someone asks you to throw a basic combo and you freeze up because you're too into your head trying to figure out what using no way as way actually means, instead of just throwing the damn punch. JKD is actually harder than traditional martial arts because there's no belt system walking you through it step by step. No clear milestones, no structured path, just you figuring it out. Formlessness without a foundation is just flailing. You have to master forms before you can drop them. It's exactly like trying to improvise jazz when you can't play a scale yet. The philosophy sounds deep until someone actually standing in front of you is trying to hit you. About half the class is gone within 2 months. The uncertainty gets to people. But you shouldn't be uncertain, so real quick, subscribe to the channel so that you won't regret later. Level 2, Attribute Builders. You made it past the early months without quitting. Progress is real. You can now run through basic techniques without your instructor physically stopping you to fix you every single rep. You understand what economy of motion means, even if you're still wasting energy on half your techniques. You can string 3 or 4 combos together without your brain crashing. The problem is sparring. You're decent on the pads, but the second you're in a live sparring, you drop everything you practiced. You apologize every time you get hit, clean on the heavy bag, totally lost against anything that's actually moving. The real issue is you're still thinking in techniques instead of principles. You know the lead leg sidekick is a thing, but you don't yet understand it's specifically for distance control and attacking the knee. You know the words, but not the grammar. Level 2 is where the actual physical foundation gets built. Speed, timing, power, footwork. A fast, powerful, well-timed, simple punch destroys a slow, complicated one every single time. Attributes first, always. Level 3, Technical Collectors. About a year in, you're in intermediate territory now. You could spar without completely falling apart. Your strikes have real snap. You've pulled from enough different arts to build an actual toolbox. Wing Chun tapping, boxing, Muay Thai kicks, some grappling basics. You're solid in the gym, completely exposed in chaos. Controlled sparring with a cooperative partner? Fine. Someone who doesn't move predictably, you get picked apart immediately. This is where people stop fighting and start collecting. They go to seminars, pick up cool looking moves, never actually pressure test any of them. Great in theory, useless in practice. Level 3 is dangerous, specifically because it feels like competence. You've got Wing Chun sensitivity drills, useless in live sparring. You've drilled wrestling takedowns, can't land them on someone who's actually resisting. The irony is that level 3 people often know more techniques than people at level 6 or 7. But the advanced guys have taken fewer techniques and ground them down to a much higher level of actual use. JKD is never about knowing everything. It's about making what you know work when someone's genuinely trying to hurt you. Level 4, Principal Appliers. 18 months to 2 years of serious work. You've sparred against different styles, tested your stuff under real pressure, and your fighting has flow to it now instead of just looking like a disconnected highlight reel. What actually changed is that you stopped collecting techniques and started applying principles. You understand what absorb what is useful, reject what is useless means in practice, not just as a quote. You've stopped trying to know every technique and started figuring out what genuinely works for your body, your attributes, your style. Drop you into sparring against someone who you've never seen before and you'll adapt. Not perfectly, but you won't fall apart either. Be like water stops being a poster quote and starts being something you actually felt in sparring. You're forced a technique at the wrong moment, countered hard, and had to learn to flow with what was actually in front of you instead of what you planned. You can read telegraphed attacks now. You know when to intercept versus when to just get out of the way. You're not a copy of your instructor anymore. You've started expressing yourself through how you fight, which is genuinely the whole point. Level 5, Interceptors. 2 to 3 years minimum, probably teaching beginners now, you have a real working understanding of all 4 combat ranges. Kicking, punching, trapping, grappling, and you can actually pass that on without wrecking the people you're teaching. Your own style has fully come out. Your core principles are internalized deeply enough that your responses come out of you, not out of memory. hit you with something new and you'll deal with it through economy of motion, directness, and interception automatically. Interception is second nature now. You're not blocking a punch and then countering anymore, you're hitting them while they're still throwing it. The stop hit, the time hit, the single direct attack, these are reflexes, not techniques. No wasted motion, no telegraphing, no hesitation. You've also started seeing JKD as something that applies outside the gym. The same adaptability that works in fights now works in how you handle pressure in business, relationships, and life. You've moved past techniques and into principle-based thinking as a whole way of operating. Level 6, Conceptual Masters. 5 to 10 years deep. These are people running academies, producing fighters, preserving the art, and also pushing it forward. The thing that separates level 6 is total integration. Here, they just fight. Whatever comes out is whatever the moment called for. Their attacks flow naturally from whatever range they're already in without a conscious decision to switch. Put a level 6 practitioner against a professional boxer, a high-level wrestler, or a BJJ black belt, they'll compete. They won't necessarily win, specialists always have an edge in their own domain, but they won't get taken apart either. They're developed enough in each range to survive specialists, and they can switch ranges entirely, which most specialists genuinely cannot do. Their understanding of biomechanics, timing, leverage, and distance runs deep. They can watch any martial artist from any style and immediately spot what's inefficient and how they move. Fighting for them has stopped being about style, it's about pure physics and physiology. Level 7, Evolutionary Legends. Real legendary status in JKD is genuinely rare. We're talking about a handful of people. Dan Inosanto, born 1936 and still active, is the main one. He was one of only 3 people Bruce Lee personally authorized to teach at his Junfang Gung Fu Institutes, the other 2 being Taki Kimura and James Yin Lee. But Inosanto is the only one among them who received the full 3rd rank instructor certification directly from Lee in Jeet Kune Do. After Lee's death in 1973, Inosanto became JKD's principal spokesperson and has spent the decade since training across dozens of martial arts. Filipino arts, Muay Thai, BJJ, Silat, shoot wrestling, and many more, studied across the United States, Southeast Asia, and Europe. Then there's the late Ted Wong, 1937 to 2010. He was Bruce Lee's last private student, the person Lee took more private training sessions with than anyone else during the Los Angeles period when JKD was actually being created. Wong and Dan Inosanto are the only 2 people to receive a Jeet Kune Do ranking certificate directly from Bruce Lee himself. Wong never trained in any other martial art his entire life. He only ever taught exactly what Lee gave him. The late Larry Hartzell, 1942 to 2007, he came into Bruce Lee's Chinatown school already holding a black belt in judo and solid Kempo foundations. Lee assigned him specifically to develop the grappling range of JKD. At the time Lee died, there were only 33 established grappling techniques in the system. Hartzell spent the rest of his life expanding and refining that range, doing it years before MMA showed the world why grappling mattered. And the late Jerry Poteet, 1936 to 2012, one of Lee's original Chinatown-era students, described by Inside Kung Fu magazine as the greatest JKD instructor in the world and known throughout the community as the conscience of Jeet Kune Do. After Lee died, Poteet refused to water the art down. He spent his whole life teaching it the way he received it. These are the people who took what one person built and made sure it survived and proved it still works. If you're training in Jeet Kune Do, figure out honestly where you actually are in these 7 levels, because you're definitely somewhere on this list. If you got something out of this, like and subscribe, more coming soon.